Hi, KB Collision. Hey, Rara. Sorry, just updating my video for this. Hey, TE. Hey, Jimmy. Hey, Piss and Vinegar. And yeah, the music in this game is really nice. They did do really nice calming music for it. Dandy, Sosuke. Oh snap! Where's my? Oh, hold on a second. Whoops. John Della Rose being barred from making films. I'm pretty okay with it. There I am. I totally forgot about that. Mechanical keyboard. Yeah, it's my. I was typing on my laptop. Hey, Zooms. Sosuke, I haven't heard much about it, and I don't care. What it comes down to, Dandy, is people don't really like interacting with dicks. Like, nobody really wants to sit around hanging out with people who are just dicks. You know? So, like, John Del Rose is doesn't get mainstream comic work because he's just kind of a douchebag. Hey, SYL. People just don't want to interact with him. They just don't like him. They'd rather interact with people they like. And I mean, it's that way for all. For everything. It's that way for everything. Hey, Irishman. If someone is unpleasant. Testing? Funny testing. No, I can't find a job because I'm not looking. Hey, Green. Hey, Green Man. Yeah, like in pretty much across the board. Nobody wants to work with somebody that they find unpleasant. And John Del Rose is somebody that a lot of comic professionals just find to be unpleasant. They just don't like him, so they don't want to work with him. Hey, Jimmy. SJWs. Oh, those darn SJWs. Holding his words against him. Anyway, it's the specific beliefs that are the problem. I have no idea. Dyslexia. Dyslexiala. Tanky or an anarchist? I don't think I'm really either. A Ripaverse? I don't know who that is. No, Irishmen, we're not bullying. Jerk. Why is the tutorial? Because some people aren't familiar with, like, some people just aren't familiar with visual novels. I'm on Spiro because they don't allow Cypher in the States. Beyond that, this is stuff that's like, I think the tutorial is really to cover this stuff. So, yeah, like I said, I mean, it's just Joe Beef. Yes, I have finished the story mode of in Boyfriend Dungeon, so there's no real reason for now for me to continue. There is DLC coming for Boyfriend Dungeon. Shimichi, there is not currently a Girlfriend Dungeon. Yeah, so there is DLC coming for Boyfriend Dungeon, and I will pick the game back up when the DLC drops. For now, only thing I'd have left to do would be to max out the relationships with a few more weapons. There isn't much. Alright. Alright, about 8 minutes, so. Yes, there is. It's called. Long day. It was another scorching summer day, the kind where no sooner had you finished one cup of water, you were already filling it up again. I know what that's like. Hell with Manly Games Ardent. Everyone else had something on, so that afternoon it was just you and Shiloh. This didn't happen much, especially since COVID arrived. Without Lizzie around, Shiloh looked to you for all the answers. It made you feel... nothing, really. Shiloh went along with whatever you wanted, so he wasn't a bother, but he also wasn't that much fun. You drained yet another drink and frowned at the empty vessel. Your thirst was gone, but you still craved something icy cold and refreshing. Something sweet. Something like... ice cream! We're not bullies in this stream, god damn it, Irishman. Nothing beat a classic creamy scoop of ice cream on a day like this. There was nothing like that to be found at home. You knew that without needing to look. Your moms didn't keep sweets in the house. Well, that's rude. Outside, there were plenty of places where such goodies could be obtained, but they were shops and demanded payment in exchange for their products. What a freaking scam that is. Courtney Knight, what game is this? This is Our Life, Beginnings and Always. It is a visual novel. Voiced your predicament aloud. I want an ice cream cone. Shiloh, who had been draped over the sofa, perked up. Yeah. That sounds good. Hey, Steph. We don't have anything like that in the house, and I don't have any money. Oh, let me check if I have any. Shiloh rummaged in his backpack and proudly produced an assortment of coins, plus one stray button. You set the button aside and counted the coins in neat piles. Just over $1. You announced this to Shiloh. He'd almost certainly come to the same conclusion, but he'd been watching you expectantly. Is that a hat or hood? That's a good question, Jimmy. I think it's a hat. It's a start. Shallow beamed at you. We'll need to find some more. Hey, Harlem. Okay. The two of you lifted couch cushions, stuck tiny hands down deep crevices in the sofa and under furniture, and scoured the backs of drawers. Hey, Robert. Most of what you found was useless or gross. Bent paper clips, fluffy wisps of dust or sandy crumbs, but every so often, one of you would strike silver or bronze and add it to the growing pile of coins. Loaded with freckles. Your mind wandered to the $20 bill tucked away in your room. It was enough for you and Shiloh to get whatever you wanted and more, but you didn't take it out. That was too special to hand over so freely. Besides, Shiloh would be curious about where it came from and might even mention your wealth to Lizzie. The exchange had been a secret. Make them pit buckets? You don't get that much control, Frosty. Dusty and disheveled from checking every room and squinting into every tiny nook, the two of you finished pooling your finds. Shallow held his breath as he counted the coins once again. $2.53. And 2 buttons. You didn't know when the second button had decided to join the party, but you were too pleased with your successful haul to throw it out. Is that enough? You feared he knew the answer without looking to you for confirmation, but the thrill of your success and the reward that would follow canceled out any other feelings he might have had about it. Yeah! You could now afford something at the shelf. Just one thing, that was infinitely better than none. Shiloh clapped his hands. Your sister's mean, Courtney. That's funny. Yay! The two of you dashed outside. The promise of sugar buoyed you onto your destination where, breathless but happy, you stared at the overwhelming number of options. You knew what you wanted, but it wasn't just you who had contributed the funds to get the treat. He seemed to notice your pause. He does have a lot of freckles. That is a freckly little bastard. Aren't you getting an ice cream cone? Go for a walk? I'll pasture you. Shallow asked as though he was entirely separate from the decision, rather than someone with a stake in the outcome. That 90% blackhead. Do you mind? Shallow cocked his head to the side. It was your idea. You should choose. I'm gonna be nice. Alright, Jimmy. It was me, Austin. It was me all along, Austin. It wasn't fair for you to be the only one to decide when he'd been a main factor in making this happen. Some of the money came directly from his backpack. What do you like? All of them. They're so good. You pressed further. But what do you really like? Popsicles or ice creams? Which is your favorite? Aw, it's so hard to pick. I don't know. Yes, I can pick my own desserts trays though whenever I want. Frustrated, you cut to the heart of the matter. You want me to choose? Yeah. And that was that. You got the dessert you wanted originally and hoped Shiloh would actually like it too. Finally, the reward for all your hard work was in your hands. You lapped at the soft ice cream. The sweetness perked you up. Doing the math, I am actually 37. Carrot cake? I love carrot cake. You held it out to Shiloh so he could take a turn. He shook his head.
You can finish it.
Alright. He didn't want any? After everything he did to help get it? That was weird. Hugh hesitated.
It's okay.
You want it more than I do. And I'm really happy that we got to play today already. You finish it. Well, it wasn't worth arguing further. The frozen treat was being worn away by the sun and starting to trickle dangerously towards your fingers. If you waited much longer, then neither of you would be getting to eat it. Alright, thanks. Hey, Betty Boop. No, Trezo. The two of you began to head back home as you ate. You offered the treat once more to Shiloh, but he refused again. You walked side by side on the shore in silence, but your thoughts kept drifting to the boy beside you. Why didn't he speak up for himself? It was almost as if Shiloh didn't know how to say what he felt, or was too afraid to. Is everyone doing? We're doing okay. Are you scared of me? Shiloh opened his eyes wide, seemingly caught off guard by the blunt question. No way! Ooh, lasagna, nice. Nice, Betty. But you don't tell me things, like what you want to do or what treat we should get. That's not because I'm scared, it's because you have better ideas than I do. Unfortunately, this was yet another thing you couldn't entirely believe Shiloh on. You hoped it was true, and that he really did feel okay around you, though. Shiloh made you unsure about setting a label on the experience of spending the afternoon with him. With just him. There had been good times, and there had been confusing ones. You were positive one thing, at least. The treat was delicious, and that was nice. The sun was low on the horizon as you returned to your neighborhood. There you spotted two very familiar figures up ahead. Lizzie and Cove. You opened your mouth to make your presence known to them just as you saw the tears on Cove's face. You walked straight over, Shiloh at your heels. Once there, you carefully asked about what had happened. Without a time machine, the only way you were going to find out was by asking the witnesses. Julia, I don't think anyone here plays this game. Lizzie might have done something, but she could have been in the wrong place at the wrong time, or even come to Cove's aid. You wanted to hear the story. Cove, what happened?
Jamie.
I got yelled at. He took a deep, steadying breath. Some grandparents got mad at me. Sorry. Alright, fair enough, Julia. Lizzie jerked her head in the direction of a nearby house. Your heart sunk. You knew exactly what had happened. Every year, the same mean old couple rented out that condo for the summer. You, Lizzie, and Shiloh knew to stay away from them, but Cove couldn't have. They're like that with everyone. Even your mom struggled to find anything nice to say about them, but the elderly pair particularly took offense to kids. It didn't matter if they were really nice like Cove. Yeah, Lizzie said. Lizzie drew herself up at that. She looked pointedly in your direction. I was helping. That's cool. Is there anything I can do?
No.
No, I'm just gonna stay away. We can't ask him yet, Jimmy. If I get the option to ask about his arm, I'll ask about his damn arm. How's Chantal doing? She's fine. Or you could teach them a lesson. There was a devilish glint in her eyes. I'm down for pranking old people. What? You should ding-dong ditch them. Go ring the doorbell and run. It'll be great because they're so slow. They'll never catch you. Whatever. We had spaghetti and sausage. Oh, and we also Chantal also made strawberry milkshakes. I do not watch One Piece now. That's dumb. I don't want to go near them ever again.
You're just saying that because you're a chicken.
Cove glared, but didn't take the bait. Lizzie turned to you. That's mature of him. Why am I playing this weird game? Because I backed it on Kickstarter. I paid for it, so I should play it. You're not a chicken, are you? Where did that voice acting come from? Yeah, it seems to be. I wish that they did more. That the voice acting was more consistent, but. Mary, it can be eventually. Dating options are available eventually, but not when you're 8 years old. Anyway, oh yeah, I'll do it. Really? You took a deep breath and nodded. Lizzie squealed with delight. Prank the old folks, why not? We'll go hide. Run as soon as you hit the bell. Good luck. Lizzie and Shiloh ran across the road to take shelter in the bushes. Even once they'd settled down, you could make out two child-sized shapes staring from between the leaves. The A's probably cost a lot. They do. You knew where to look for them, though, and so you told yourself that the grouchy old people wouldn't spot it. Cove sighed, his gaze flicking to the house and then back to you. Be careful. Ding-dong ditch, hell yeah! Classic! Classic pranksterism. Where are these children's parents? Around. It'll be okay. He gave the door, and you, one last look before joining Lizzie and Shiloh in their hideaway. The weight of 3 pairs of eyes on your back was heavier than anything you'd carried before as you approached the door. You hesitated as you reached for the doorbell. Then... Hell yeah, gotta prank. Gotta prank him. You slapped the buzzer and ran. Blood thumped against your eardrums with every step. Would you make it in time? Approaching the hiding spot, you knew that there wasn't time to go around the bushes as the others had done. You took a shortcut, leaping over them. I'd be fine with that, actually. What game am I playing? Our Life, Beginnings and Always, Bitty Boop. Or, to be more accurate, crashing into the tops of the bushes and then falling over to the other side. Hey, whatever works. Cove quietly hissed as you unwittingly collided into him, but by the way his arms were out, it seemed he had intentionally tried to cushion your landing. Ah, thanks, kid. Thanks, buddy. Melanie? Yeah, sure, feeling comfortable, whatever, I don't care. Shh. Lizzie put a finger to her lips and nodded at the house. You disentangled your lens from Cove's and spun around to see the old man framed in the doorway, peering back and forth suspiciously. You covered your mouth with your hands, but it wasn't enough to stifle your giggles. Maybe he spotted one of you, or maybe it was the leaves you displaced while jumping, but he locked eyes with the bush and stormed over in your direction. Shiloh gasped and looked to Lizzie. I don't drink, Dandy, I don't drink. Thanks, Melanie. Run! Your sister did not hesitate to take her own advice. Neither did Shiloh. You got up, but, seeing Cove struggling to extract himself and stand up with just the one fully functional arm, you gave him a hand up before taking off after the others. The old man's hollers propelled you all from the street to the sanctity of the hill. Only once you were safe did you notice the stitch in your chest and the ache of your legs. Who wrote this game? People. You flopped down, the blades of grass tickling your face. Lizzie, who had taken the lead in the end, was already lazing on the ground. Heroin stream. The 4 of you took a moment to catch your breath and enjoy the feeling of cool grass against your skin. Cove lifted his head. I told you there were mean grandparents around here. Cove rolled his eyes, then decided this wasn't dismissive enough, and rolled his whole body away from your sister. Hey, Diana. Lizzie chose to ignore his response and started chatting to Shiloh, who eagerly joined the conversation. In the back of your mind, you knew you'd be second fiddle again to Shiloh once Lizzie came around. It always went like that. And it was fine, you thought. Shiloh could prefer Lizzie as much as he wanted to. There were other things to attend to anyway. I don't even remember how I said your name, Diana. Okay. Sure, KB. I'll be doing a regular live stream tomorrow, KB. So, Sundays and Wednesdays I do just regular live streams. So, if you're not interested in watching me play silly little visual novel, then you can always watch me on those days. They're very descriptive about kids' cool skin and feelings. Oh, bite me, Duff. You wriggled closer to Cove. He had calmed down, for the most part, and was inspecting a flower. His fingers pinched the stem and tilted the white petals towards him. That's a poppy. Cove glanced at you in acknowledgement, then back to the flower. The type of poppies on this hill have the name white linen poppy. Mom told me. He quirked a smile. That's funny. He ran a finger around the edges of the petals. It doesn't feel like cloth. You'd need a lot of them to make anything. I'm not interested in doing edibles, Courtney. It's just not something that interests me. He nodded and released the delicate plant. Evaluation complete. This is my favorite kind of flower, but I didn't know what it was called. Thanks. I'm gonna go with orchids. Are the most special. Those flowers are super fancy and come in all sorts of colors and stuff. Some even pretend to be like bugs. They do? Yep, they trick real bugs by looking like one. Wow, you know everything. Not everything, but thanks. You moved onto your back with a small smile and looked at the darkening sky. The blanket of clouds reminded you of a thick throw you curled under on cold, rainy days. You wondered if the clouds would be as soft. They lazily floated on by, splitting from each other, merging and morphing into new shapes. You saw an alpaca! I mean, if alpaca is an option, you see an alpaca. You saw a fluffy alpaca in the sky. You nudged Cove and pointed to it. Can you see the alpaca? Cove joined you, gazing skywards.
Whoa.
It's more like a llama. Don't be so pedantic, Cove. Hey. He chuckled at your reaction. All the sun's light faded from the sky and the moon rose higher. Lizzie got to her feet, dusting strands of grass from her bare legs, and surveyed her surroundings. The ocean, visible from the crest of the hill, beckoned with every sweep of the tide. Let's go to the beach! There was no argument from the other two. Shiloh was still Shiloh, and Cove would never say no to going to the shore. He was a child of the sea. You were happy to do what the others wanted. The beach wouldn't necessarily have been where you chose to go next, but if that was what the others wanted, then you weren't going to spoil the fun. You stepped onto the sand for the second time that day, but it felt different at night. The beach was nearly quiet at this hour. Abandoned sand castles and footsteps in the sand, too big to belong to any of you, were the only indication of how busy it had been only hours earlier. The four of you kicked shoes off and removed socks and walked along the water's edge. The waves tickled your feet. I wonder what would happen if you tried to take a bath in the ocean, with shampoo and everything. It wouldn't be very effective. The salt water, I think, probably would be make it less effective. That could be bad for the fish.
Jeez.
I didn't say anyone would do it. Jeez, you don't have to be serious about everything. Okay, but I kind of took it seriously as well. You're the one who asked what would happen. That is what would happen. It hurt the fishes. I like bubble baths at home. They're a lot of fun. Me too. Bubble baths are luxurious. You'd never heard Lizzie use that word before. Mommy loves to have bubble baths and bubbles in her bath. She'll turn the lights off and have candles. I'm gonna do that next time. Hey, when's your mom coming to pick you up anyway? Not for a while. She's busy. What about your dad? How come you never talk about him? Nobody does. Don't you know you're not supposed to ask something like that? Why would somebody want to talk about something they never talk about? Fair point. That is a very fair point, Lizzie. You kept your eyes on the ground, watching your toes get swallowed up by waves. Even if Shiloh never seemed upset when this topic came up, it made you feel awkward just for having both of your moms. I like you throwing in the, oh, hi, Jenny. I like that bit. I like that bit of your comment, Melanie. But thank you. It's okay. I'm like Lizzie and Jamie. I don't have a dad. But I don't have two moms. I just have one. She's really great. Oh, sorry. I only have one now, too. My mom isn't here. She's back home. It's just my dad with me. They don't need supervision, Harlem. It's a small town, and... Like, it's a small town. And, I mean, they're not far from home.
Sorry.
Aw, I never had a dad or anything, so I don't feel bad. It's really sad that your mom is gone. Who lets children run around at night? Good parents do in small towns. Cove nodded. You joked about Shiloh's mom getting together with Cove's dad. Harlem, I mean, they're young, but they're not stupid. They know to stay out of the ocean. How old is your in-game character? They're like 8. Your characters, you start off at like 8 years old. So yeah, you start off as a kid. You didn't have anything comforting to say to that, so you tried to lighten the mood instead. Hey, since you both only have one parent, Cove's dad could marry Shiloh's mom. Then you two would be brothers. Just kidding, no, the cast still has not been addressed. Cove stopped abruptly, his face set hard.
No.
My dad isn't going to do that. Fair? Shiloh tugged at the rim of his hat. Neither is my mom. She doesn't want to marry anybody. Well, that was a joke failure. I told you people this wasn't a good thing to talk about. Yes, Lizzie, you told us. It seemed your plan backfired and the mood soured even more. You didn't know what to do. The silence broke with a splash as Lizzie kicked in your direction. Cold water and sand splattered against your legs. Lizzie giggled, foot still outstretched from the kick. Cove joined in, striking the incoming waves to make a splash of his own. Shiloh scurried out of Cove's spray zone with a grin. Yeah, play along. You used your foot to smack the water pooling around you, sending an arc of sea foam flying back onto your sister. You laughed as she spluttered, some of the salty seawater having landed in her mouth. She spat it out. Yuck! Lizzie chased you, intent on revenge. Hey, Zoe. You dashed up and down the coast, taking it in turns to be the predator and then the prey, as well as joining forces to take down Shiloh or Cove. Alliances were silently forged and wordlessly broken. Everything was fair game in war. Ah! Shiloh's brief exclamation was drowned out by the biggest splash yet, caused by him falling face first into the ground. That would have been bad enough without the wave that followed, cascading over his prone body. Oh, hey, Flop Era. Shiloh sat up, shaking his head like a dog coming in from the rain as you all hurried over to check on him. His hair was plastered to his head and his soaked clothes clung. If there was any part of him that was still dry, you couldn't see it. That was crazy. Are you okay? Yeah, my foot got stuck and I fell over.
You Dumbo.
Way to go, Shiloh. You Dumbo. You offered him some help up. Shiloh didn't take your outstretched hand. After a moment, you dropped it. Lizzie was too busy snickering to notice and held her hand out to Shiloh, too. He reached over and took it. Slowly, he started to pull himself up from the ground. Hey, what have I been up to? Not a whole lot, Betty. Whole lot of nothing. Then he slipped on the slick sand, dragging him and Lizzie down just in time for another wave to hit. The water rolled over them. Haha. Take that,
Sorry.
Lizzie. What were the odds of that happening twice in a row? You thought they must be low. But there's no way Shiloh would do something like that on purpose, then pretend it was an accident. Especially not to Lizzie. Even if your relationship with Shiloh felt unclear, he did at least like her a lot. Lizzie was his favorite, right? Smiling boldly, Lizzie extracted herself from the ground and wiped a streak of sand from her cheek. She didn't intend to let this embarrass her. Hey, Cornelius. Shiloh got up again as well, this time with that instant. He still looked like a drowned puppy, but that didn't stop Cove from laughing at the two of them. With that, it was time to call it a day. The four of you made the journey back home, leaving a trail of wet footsteps and sand in your wake. Damp clothes may have weighed down some of the group, but your spirits were high. Your arms swung side to side as a cool breeze flowed past. Hey! Your moms were outside, chatting to Cove's dad. We're back! Your mom's faces fell as they took in the state you all were in, ranging from messy to soaked.
No.
Elizabeth, is that all you have to say for yourself? You brought half the beach back with you. Jalapeno? Not a fan of jalapeno, Cornelius. They certainly did. What's Marigold going to do when she comes to get Shiloh? Is that how you want him to be for the long drive home? Cold and filthy? Two moms? Yes, Jimmy. Your character has two moms. The protagonist has two moms. Lizzie's expression turned sulky over the scolding. Being the oldest could be fun, but it also meant she was first to get in trouble when something went wrong. Mr. Holden, on the other hand, chuckled as he ruffled Cove's matted hair. You've been out making memories, Bucko? I'm glad you had a good time with your friends. No, Jamie. One is mom, the other is mommy. Cove used his slightly moist cast arm to push his dad off. Mr. Holden's eyes widened when he noticed that even that had gotten wet. Now he was worried too. I think they could have found a less risky way to spend time and had just as much fun. That might be right. Kids, what can you do? Come on, Cove, let's go get you cleaned up and dried off. We wouldn't want that cast to have to be reset. Cove winced at the thought.
Okay.
That-a-boy. Mr. Holden casually bent down and plucked Cove up off the ground, ultimately holding Cove against his chest. Sand was already transferring from Cove onto him, but that didn't seem to bother Mr. Holden. Cove protested being carried, but only got a reassuring pat on the back for his trouble.
Take care.
Good night, Cove. Thank you for the talk, Cliff. Night, Lost Family, and Shiloh too. Resigned to his fate, Cove twisted his body in his dad's arms in order to turn around and wave goodbye. Smiling, you returned a tiny wave of your own.
Fine.
Well, we'd better do what we can to fix you guys up too. Come on, everybody inside. I want you to march straight to the downstairs bathroom. You guys are making this game less fun with your goddamn perviness. Fucking hell.
Ugh.
Yes, Mom. Okay, Lizzie's mom. Bearhead, I mean, they both got it going on. They kind of both got it going on. Don't worry about stopping to wipe your feet on the mat this time. That won't do much good tonight. Sitting on an old beach towel your mommy had found, you waited in the hall, until you were less sandy and you weren't allowed to go to your room or walk around the house. But you did get to eat a sandwich for dinner there. It felt like an indoor picnic. It had been decided that Shiloh would wash first and borrow some of your clothes. He was already finished and packed away in his mom's car. Ms. Fields had come to collect him a little while ago. It was a bit of a funny experience seeing him without that hat on for once. Lizzie, being much more soaked than you, got to go in the tub next. It wasn't a bubble bath as she had hoped. This was a no fun allowed cleanup session. At least that's what she claimed. I've tried marijuana. It didn't do anything for me, Cornelius. That's it. Not much longer, and it would be your turn. When the bath was done, you'd have to go right to bed. Hey, Nessa Jen. After a day like this, though, you were glad there weren't going to be any further events. Drifting out to sleep sounded like a great idea. Alright, so given how much you people seem to just hate the childhood section of this, Runaway? Alright, I'll do Runaway. What I was gonna ask, given how much all of you just seem to absolutely despise the childhood section of this game, Irishman, yes. I backed the game on Kickstarter, so the DLC I got for free. As part of that. But since you all hate the childhood section, do you all want me to just move on to the next section? To move on to the teen years? No, Duff, it doesn't have heavy undertones. Portums? Yeah, you can just skip. Like, at any point, you can just skip it. Don't mind. What's Chantel doing right now? Not sure what Chantel's doing. Up to you. Retirement section. 23 is the oldest. So, yeah, you start at 8. Ends at 23. Alright, so much as I would prefer to just continue on with the childhood section, much as I would like to see all of it, honestly, I'm getting kind of tired of the gross-ass jokes regarding... There's no sex scenes, Cornelius. It's not that kind of visual name. There's no sex scenes. But... yeah, I like all these shitty ass sex jokes that people are making about like fucking kids. It's honestly grossing me the fuck right out. It is disgusting that you people are making those jokes. So, at least it's not going to be quite. I mean, frankly, it'll still be pretty gross when when you're making those jokes about fucking teens as well. Sex scenes later on. I was unaware of that, Irishman, but and Frosty, people talking about like, oh, it's giving pedo vibes and shit like that. Like, it's honestly like the jokes that have been getting made here have honestly just like there's been some jokes getting made that I really am not comfortable with. I will be blunt. There's a lot of very uncomfortable jokes being made. Simone? The boyfriend dungeon. I finished the storyline. So, I'm waiting for DLC for boyfriend dungeon before I continue that. Rainbow? I've not... Oh, Rainbow Six, no. Alright. Oh, hey, Greenie. What am I drinking? Just some water. Yeah, it shouldn't be too much longer, Joe. Civilization. I've tried Civilization. It's not really my type of game. Bariatric. Honestly, it's just too much. Lizzie, yes, it's called Our Life, Beginnings and Always. One sweltering summer day, you were in your living room with Cope, listening to the sounds of the birds chattering outside the window while you lay across the rug on the floor. Cope's dad had dropped him off earlier, and your moms had left the two of you, along with Lizzie, to play amongst yourselves. Lasagna? Yeah, I like lasagna well enough. It had been too hot to go outside in the afternoon, at least according to Mommy, so your sister was starting to get impatient waiting for her golf class that evening. Golf class? Ugh. The three of you had trouble finding something fun to do. The beach and the playground were off limits, and you felt that it was too warm for anything like playing with your fuzzy toy animals. So these kind of games? Yeah, I like this one. Then suddenly, a light came to Lizzie's big brown eyes and her smile spread wide across her face. Leftover baked ziti? Ziti? Having an idea gave her a new wave of energy. Since we're stuck inside, we should be adults. They don't play outdoors anyways. They're always inside and telling everybody they're too busy to play. Hey.
Why?
Duh.
I said why, and it'll be fun. Duh. Favorite pasta? I like spaghetti, would be my favorite pasta, Betty. What do they do inside that we don't? Besides use the phone a lot. Adults don't use the phone anymore. Exuding a small huff, Lizzie decides to ignore... Oh, excluding a small huff, Lizzie decides to ignore. Okay.
What do you think?
Do you want to? Why not? You do? Seriously? Yeah. Hooray! Okay, let me think. What do I want to be? Satisfied that neither of you were about to bail on her, Lizzie thought over her options while you watched. Why spaghetti? I don't know, it's nice and simple. I like, After a few seconds, she clapped her hands together and beamed, apparently having settled on something without asking either of you.
Okay.
I'm gonna be a professional golfer. Jamie, you and Cove can be a beach volleyball player, a gymnast, or a tennis player. Eh? Why can't we pick anything we want? Because I have a fun idea, that's why. And we have to play sports as adults? Favorite cookies? I like strawberry wafers. Yep. But there's other kinds of sports too.
Right?
It isn't the same. What do you think, Jamie? Don't those choices sound super cool? You want to be that, huh? Anders Breivik? I forget who the hell that even is. Courtney, yes, you do choose your... I swear that... I swear you could choose your, or change your gender as well. Greenie? Never heard about putting sugar on strawberries? My mom always used to put sugar on strawberries. Sure, why not? Lizzie, apparently not expecting you to agree after Cove's refusal, practically lit up. Really? Which one are you going to pick, Jamie? Cove was not impressed with Lizzie's attitude, though he didn't bother talking more about it for now. We thought over the list of possibilities. Beach volleyball, gymnastics, or tennis. Out of all of them, you prefer to play gymnastics. Cream but never sugar? My mom's from Scotland, so she's from the UK, and she's, it's something that she always did, so. I don't know. I wasn't even aware that it was something that people didn't do. Good on the run, but sugar levels up the strawberries. Volleyball. Gymnastics. I want to be flexible. Marshmallow. Yeah, I do like marshmallow. I really like marshmallows. Generally just on their own. Does my mom like groundskeeper Willie? No. I'm trying to get diabetes, so it's okay. If you couldn't spend the afternoon doing cartwheels and handstands in the backyard, then you might as well practice them inside. There wouldn't be as much space as there was outside, but you could still try. Yes, that was clearly the top option. North Kilttown? She's from a town called Winchbrook. Which, pretty... Tim Hortons? They can Tim Hortons. Them getting married is an option, is a possibility. It gives me severe stomach aches and gas. I guess I'll be a gymnast.
All right.
How about you, Cove? I pick volleyball. I should have known. Okay, so Jamie, you're a famous gymnast, and Cove, you're on a popular beach volleyball team. And Lizzie's ponytail bobbed when she proudly stretched her arms wide. We are Olympic athletes who just competed in the Olympics. Okay. Cove didn't seem all that impressed with the announcement. He made a face and adjusted the glasses on his nose. That's really specific.
Rude.
That's what makes it fun. Anyway, Lizzie marched back and forth in front of both of you, getting lost in her own imagination. I won all gold medals and people are calling me the next Mickey Wright. Who's Mickey Wright? Is Mickey Wright somebody famous? Okay, Cornelius. Like, is Mickey Wright a real person? Anyone know, or is this just like somebody made up for the game? I don't know golf. You people are no help. All right, let's Google. Yeah. All right, so pretty major lady golfer, member of the World Golf Hall of Fame, and apparently died a couple years back. I'm surprised how well you read out loud. I do my best, Frosty. Mickey Rooney is dead? Nah. So is Mickey Wright, apparently. Who's that? Lizzie stopped on the spot and turned on him, her brown eyes shining with impatience. I had to look it up. I mean, I'm with Cove. I had to look it up, too. It doesn't matter if you know who she is. It's a golf thing. You guys won medals, too. Cove, your team was bronze. And Jamie, you barely missed out on the gold and got silver. It's more real if we're not all first place. Hey? Why do you get to be the gold star winner? Jerk. Silver's not bad. Nice. May not be first place, but you knew that silver medals were still really good to get at the Olympics. Dad's watching the Open right now? Why? I don't get the appeal of golf. I just don't understand the appeal of golf, honestly. But it isn't gold.
Sorry.
Lots of people lose at the Olympics. Them's the breaks. Then you're the one who did, not me. Lizzie looked taken aback by Cove's declaration, as though the thought of her losing was completely absurd. No way! It wouldn't make sense. I'm already practicing my golf game. She took a golfing stance to make her point, pretending to swing her club and hit an invisible ball. Yes, Jimmy, I wear masks whenever I go out the house. So what kind of house do you want to live in? Cove hadn't changed his mind about winning, but thinking about where he'd live as an adult appealed to him, apparently, because he looked back at Lizzie with some of the anger fading. I'm going to live on the beach. Lizzie made a face at him, poking out her tongue. I mean, if he's a beach volleyball player, that's kind of boring. We already have that. No, not like the normal houses here with a street. On it. Right on the sand, by the water. Ooh, that sounds cool. Not for me. My ex-BF was obsessed with it. I just passed the time. Driving the golf carts where they shouldn't be driven. Nice. Just like that, all the tension was back. You hadn't even had a chance to choose where you would want to live. That's not very fun or smart, Cove. You can't live on a bunch of sand and shells. You can. You actually can. Build a house, like, right on a beach. Cousin had a tested COVID-19? That sucks, Betty. But I want to, and I will. Cove narrowed his eyes at Lizzie, even though she stood half a head taller than him. Yeah, I mean, there are absolutely people who live, like, right on a beach. Come on. You didn't give out a list of things to pick from this time, so I'm picking that. Why are we even playing pretend if we can't imagine anything?
Jeez.
Well, I'm gonna live in a mansion far away from here, and far away from you. One with an indoor pool and a place to practice my award-winning golfing. Varsity ice hockey? No. I never played ice hockey. She kinda is, Lizzie. Yeah, I briefly played, like, ball hockey. I didn't play very long. I played, like, 1 or 2 games, I think.
It's not fair.
How come you were yelling about mine when your idea is even more impossible? That's also not impossible. There are people who have indoor driving ranges. Lizzie's face flushed red, her hands balling into fists at her side. It is not impossible, and it's better than yours. Disagreements always seemed to crop up when the two of them were together, and you always felt like you were stuck in the middle. But when it came to the topic at hand this time, you thought... You were tired of deciding between either of them. Actually, no, I'm going to agree with Cove. Cove was right. Cove's idea is good. You shouldn't say yours is the only right one. I don't know, fishing spot reviewer. Jimmy? I did suck at it. No one asked for your opinion. He smiled slightly over the agreement, then turned to Lizzie with bolstered confidence. You can swim whenever you want if you live on the beach. We can still swim anytime we want from where we live now. Being a little closer doesn't mean anything. Says you. The two of them scowled at each other. You're being so unreasonable. You... I don't get what you want. This game doesn't make sense.
Ugh.
It does. You have to be realistic. I said that. How's my mom? My mom's doing well. But you're not. You had no idea what to do to make them stop at this point. It seemed like the two of them would just keep working each other up as long as they could. Nothing you'd said so far had kept them from being mad. Thankfully, like a greeting card angel, Mom walked into the room. Lizzie rushed to her, hanging onto the hem of her shirt and poking out her tongue at Cove. Jamie, it's time to get ready to go.
You alright with that?
Sorry you have to leave already, Cove. Their mommy said she'll walk you home so you won't be left in the cold. Cove was still glaring at Lizzie, his face flushed red with anger. A lot of dating sims? Not really, Tim Hortons. I haven't really played that many dating sims. I think I did play Monster Prom. I liked Monster Prom. That's a good dating sim. That one's a lot of fun. Other than that, I can't really think of any other like specific dating sims that I've played. There probably are others. I just have no memory of them. I can go by myself. But bye, Jamie. There was still a harsh edge to the brief farewell, but you knew it wasn't you he was mad at. Without giving Mom a chance to stop him, Cove stood up and stalked out of the room, shoulders drawn tight.
Huh?
Okay? Worried, Mom turned to look down at you and Lizzie. Paladine? Paladine is, didn't she say the N-word? Didn't Paladine, say the N-word at one point? You two were playing nice with our new friend, weren't you? They were fighting, Cove and Lizzie, for the whole time. Your sister's jaw dropped, looking betrayed, as Mom put both hands on her hips. Elizabeth! I told you to be kind to him. He's having a hard time right now. Lizzie's mouth closed back up, replaced by a tiny frown. I know. I tried, but he was...
That's
No
enough.
buts. We both know you can show someone a great time when you put your mind to it. We're going to apologize to Cove and his dad over the phone when he gets home from work tonight. Okay, I maybe shouldn't have called her out. Called her by... Yeah. When you get the full name, ooh. Like when you get the proper name, that's bad. Her cooks called her out for racist comments? Yeah. Lizzie hung her head, dragging a foot across the ground in front of her. Okay, Mom. Good girl. You caught pieces of Lizzie sulking to herself about how it was his fault too, but it was over. Ah, right, we better get a move on.
Let's go.
Let's go, kids. Nolani, where did you leave the car keys? Alright, so we know that Mommy's name is Noelani. Mom hustled you all out the door, and you noticed during the car ride to golf practice that Lizzie was quieter than usual. She was usually the first one to request which music to listen to in the car, but she didn't say a thing. Your parents noticed she wasn't in a mood to be bothered. They gave her space, and Mommy just asked you what you'd like to listen to. You chose a song you knew Lizzie liked. Maybe that would cheer her up. I did kind of call her out. I did get her in trouble, so... You were happy to see it brightened her up right away, and she started singing along with you. I try to be a good brother. I did not play Monster Prom 2. Soon enough, her bad mood was a thing of the past. When the car ride was over, you spent the twilight hour watching Lizzie hit things with other girls her age. Hit things. You didn't know much about golf, but you could tell that she really liked it, so you sat with your moms and tried to puzzle it out. It was nice sitting outside after being cooped up in the house all day, and you stretched your legs to let the last few minutes of sun warm your skin. When the sun was finally out of sight, dipping behind the horizon, you all got ready to leave. Instead of going straight home, your moms took the family out to dinner. You went to a restaurant you had all been going to ever since you could remember. The whole afternoon had been a bunch of shouting you hadn't been able to stop, but you could kind of tell that all this helped Lizzie be less angry. The car ride home was quiet, with only the radio providing escape from silence. Lizzie had been in better spirits now, but the closer you got to your neighborhood, the more she wiggled in her seat and crammed out the window. She knew what was coming when you all got back home. Clearly, she was dreading it. Soon enough, Mom was turning onto your street, then reversing into the driveway. Once she cut the ignition, it was dead silent. No one spoke, only unbuckled their seatbelts and opened their doors. Lizzie was the last one out. Once everyone was inside and done taking off their shoes, she propped her hands on her hips.
So?
Now then, Mr. Holden's car is in his driveway, so he should be back from work. That's good news, isn't it, Elizabeth? You and Cove can hash things out before the day's done. Lizzie didn't complain or put up a fight. Her head ducked so she didn't have to meet anyone's eyes. She nodded once. Good, let's move this to the kitchen. Mom went over to the house phone, the rest of you following behind her. Mom put a gentle hand on Lizzie's shoulder as they walked side by side. You watched them from the back. This was only happening because you told on Lizzie. You felt a little guilty, like you had betrayed your sister. You could still remember the look on Lizzie's face. There was no doubt she felt that way about it. Lizzie could hold a grudge if she was really upset. Would she hold this over you? You hoped not. The four of you stood around the kitchen in a lopsided square. All eyes were on Lizzie, who kept her gaze on her feet. You remember the number for Cove's house, don't you, honey? Lizzie jerked her head in another nod, sullen. Without further prompting, she stepped forward and began to dial. Mom reached over and pressed a button on the base. Suddenly, you could hear the phone ringing. She turned on the speaker. The phone rang a couple of times, then stopped. Mr. Holden's warm voice came through the other end. Evening, Holden residence. I didn't actually ban Dandy. I didn't actually ban Blood Dandy. I deleted his comment. I didn't ban him yet. Lizzie looked over at Mommy, unsure. She nodded encouragingly. Hi, Mr. Holden. It's, Lizzie. Can I talk to Cove? Reset? He said the game's pervy.
Absolutely.
Lizzie last? What a surprise. But of course you can say hey to the boy. He sounded cheery as usual, though definitely meant it when he said it was a surprise. You thought hard, and you were sure that your sister had never called Cove's house before. Mom spoke up before Mr. Holden or Lizzie could say anything more. Her arms were crossed over her chest, her lips pursed. Hi, Cliff. Noelani, Jamie, and I are here, too. Good evening. We're sorry to bother you so late. Hi. The gang's all here, huh? Is something the matter? His voice grew a bit concerned. Mommy was quick to reassure him. No, well, yes, but it's going to be okay. Lizzie and Cove got into a bit of a fight today. We were hoping that the two of them could talk and make up. Is this a good time for you and Cove?
What?
A fight? Cove didn't tell me anything about that when I came home. It does explain the funk he's been in tonight. He chuckled lightly. Despite that, it didn't seem like he really thought it was funny. Anyway, it's good. You didn't catch us at a bad time. I'll go grab him for you. There was some shuffling on the other end. He must not have gone far because you could still hear him calling out. Cove? There's someone on the phone for you. After a beat of silence, there was more muffled talking from Cove's dad. Come on, bud. Lizzie called just so she could talk to you.
Are you sure?
Jamie's on the other end listening too. Don't you want to say hi? It took a bit of back and forth, though the conversation seemed one-sided since he couldn't hear Cove properly. Eventually, Cove took the phone from his dad.
Hi.
AIM? Oh, ALM. For a second there, Joe, I thought you said AIM. I thought you said AIM. I'm like, AOL Instant Messenger? Hey, it's Lizzie. Yeah, I know. Dad told me. Cove's tone was defensive. Lizzie turned to Mom, scowling. One stern look from her, though, and Lizzie turned away.
Sorry.
I just called to say I'm sorry for not playing nice with you today. I won't do it again. Abby Lee Miller from Dance Moms? I have never watched Dance Moms. Lizzie's eyes were downcast, her voice low. You could tell she felt uncomfortable apologizing to Cove in front of everyone. I used AIM back in the day, too? Yeah, I used AIM. Away messages, yeah. The good old days. She was still being genuine about feeling bad. Cove must have realized that too, because he sighed quietly. Message receiver? Yep. I want gold. And I think Jamie should win too. Really? He thought you were worth gold even though you hadn't even wanted it? Lizzie was momentarily stunned silent by the demand. She probably forgot that it even happened already. Alright, we all win the gold. Okay, I guess I'm sorry too. A sense of relief washed over everyone at his acceptance of the apology. Oh, happy birthday, Zoe. I will make sure to, might not be Tuesday that I cook, but sometime in the next couple days. I will be cooking something in the next couple days, Zoe. I will make sure to wish you a happy birthday. Or I'll try to. I'll try to remember to wish you a happy birthday. Give me a second. Sorry, Zoe. Just wanted to make a note, Zoe. Emily, never watched her bariatric. My first cell phone, heavy as a brick. Okay. I never actually had a phone like this. The phones I had always had cords. Like the home phones the home phones I had growing up, they were like they had cords. They were connected to the wall, connected to the base. Mom uncrossed her arms while Mommy's shoulders relaxed. Lizzie's eyebrows raised up. You wondered if she thought that he'd refuse her apology. Dad, can I get off the phone now? Yep. Definitely feel for Cove here. Absolutely feel for Cove. Let me get off the damn phone. You couldn't see him, but it was obvious that Cove felt awkward about the situation. He had come off uncomfortable the entire time, really.
Yeah.
Snake on the napkin? Yeah, Snake. Back in my day, we used messenger birds. Yeah, you can go back to your room if you want. Be sure to say goodbye first, though. Bye, Lizzie. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, Jamie. You perked up at the mention of your name. You smiled, even if he couldn't see it. Bye, Cove. With that said, Cove must have handed the phone to his dad and left, since Mr. Holden spoke up.
That's a relief.
All's well that ends well, as they say. Thanks for arranging this. I'm sure he appreciates it. As Mom replied, Lizzie tugged on Mommy's hand to catch her attention. Can I go now, too?
Good job.
Sure, sweetie. Thank you very much for apologizing to Cove. Good kids. Mom flashed a brief smile at Lizzie and nodded her agreement. Given permission to leave, Lizzie scurried off towards the stairs. She seemed to be feeling much better with the incident behind her. Mom and Mommy returned to the phone, taking it off the speaker. They continued talking to Mr. Holden. You couldn't tell what about. You were glad that was the end of it all. Lizzie and Cove might not get along, and probably still won't, but they weren't mad at each other anymore. Mom and Mommy weren't upset either. Everything was finally back to normal. With that thought, you retreated to your own room with a spring in your step. Alright. Fireflies.
All right.
I don't know who that is, Jimmy. People have mentioned that person to me before. I still have no knowledge of them. Tonight we're going to catch fireflies. I remember catching fireflies. The house I grew up in had a huge field, or not huge, but had a big field behind it. And every summer, fireflies. At this blunt declaration from your sister, you looked up from your macaroni and cheese dinner. Fireflies were a familiar sight over summer, coming out on warm nights to dance through the sky. Tonight was particularly balmy. You knew there were bound to be a ton of them around. I'm glad you're enjoying it, Zoe. Dance Moms is a guilty pleasure of mine. Left the drama. Yeah, I never really got into reality TV in general, Joe. I never liked the drama involving real people, somehow. I never did that, Kelly. That I never did. I would just, grab them like this and and then let them go. I never killed them. No, Dandy, I was responding to Joe, Dandy. Oh, you are you? Yeah! You rocked lightly from side to side in your seat, already excited for your after-dinner activity. Catching fireflies was a great way to spend a summer evening. You could already envision the little lightning bugs drifting through the darkened sky. That's a good idea, Lizzie. Can we miss her last? Or can we miss his last? Shiloh tapped his fork against the table excitedly, his face lighting up as he looked at Lizzie. Brave of the fireflies. Damn it, bariatric. It was unusual for Shiloh to still be here. Like always, his mom had to bring him over really early in the morning before her job started. But normally she would have picked him up by now. She called before dinner to let your moms know she'd be late. You didn't hear why. Probably more work things. Jimmy, no, we still don't know why. We may never find out the reason for the cast at this rate. HR Puffin stuff? Banana splits? I don't remember either of those, Kelly. I have no memory of either of those shows. They don't ring any bells for me. Doesn't necessarily mean that they weren't in Canada. Just, I never heard about them. You thought maybe getting to hang out with Shiloh for longer is what made Lizzie want to keep running around outside. Hey, Cornelius. Staying at home and watching TV was never an option for her with guests over. That's why you were pretty sure she'd get your moms to agree. Well, it's already so dark out there. Well, duh, that's when you go to catch fireflies. It's dark, so you go out and you catch the fireflies. And the fireflies provide light. Jeez, Mom. Don't you know anything about firefly catching? Lizzie gave Mom the best puppy dog eyes she could, slowly spooning mac and cheese into her mouth while you waited for their response.
There.
Let them go. Nights like this don't happen every day. Your parents exchanged a look, then Mom eventually sighed and nodded back. Jimmy? As far as I know, I don't think it does take a necessarily dark turn. Yes! Along with Lizzie's cheers, he threw your arms up in triumph, but waited until he'd finished chewing to say anything because he knew it was rude to talk with your mouth full. Fine. Just make sure you stay on the hill behind our house with all the poppies, okay? Duh, Mom, that's where most of them are. The idea had only just been planted in your head, but already you could just picture all the glowing lights spread out in front of you, like the fairies from the bedtime stories Mommy read sometimes. I have no idea if there's any sex later on, Lizzie. Yeah. I kind of miss catching fruit flies. Or not fruit flies. I had no problem catching fruit flies. Kind of miss catching fireflies. All too quickly, it became a race to see who could finish their food first. No choking at the dinner table now. That's right. If someone died, we'd have to cancel the firefly trip after all. Yeah, the fruit flies I get plenty of, Dandy. Yeah, I miss catching fireflies. I miss fireflies. Mom said it like a joke, but you knew that they were both telling you kids to slow down. Shiloh did immediately. When you glanced at Lizzie, you saw her still eating faster than she should. Elizabeth!
Jeez.
No one is gonna die. Sheesh. A knock on the door interrupted Mom before she could no doubt scold your sister. I'll get it! Your big sister jumped out of her seat and ran over to the door, pulling it open without even looking out the window to see who it was. I can guess who it is. Firefly? Never watched Firefly, Dandy. And honestly, knowing what I know now about Joss Whedon, no chance I'll ever watch Firefly or Buffy. Like, knowing what we know about Joss Whedon, I'm never gonna watch any of his stuff. The guy's garbage. Joss Whedon's a crap person, and honestly, kind of a crap director. If he's abusive to his cast, which he is, Joss Whedon actually was abusive to some cast members. That's bad direction. So yeah, if you have to yell at your cast members, no, you suck. Joss Whedon sucks as a person. So, never watching any Joss Whedon stuff. Separate art from the artist. I generally don't bother doing that, Jimmy. Because there's so much art out there, Jimmy. He directed 2 of the Avengers movies, bariatric. But there is just so much out there that, you can just find new art. You don't have to sit there you don't have to care. You don't have to separate the art from the artist. You can just decide, hey, this guy sucks. I'm going to avoid all the stuff this guy does. Because, oh, hey, look at all the stuff over here. Just massive amounts over here. So. Firefly and Train to Wrestle? Whatever. Like I said, I am very comfortable not watching any of Joss Whedon's stuff.
Huh?
You shifted in your seat to try and get a glimpse of the unexpected guest.
Hi.
Good evening, Cove. Your mommy had already walked to the door by the time you managed to see past Shiloh's flappy hat. A big smile stretched across your face. When you lifted your hand and waved, Cove's pink cast went up to return it shortly after. Didn't matter why he was there, it meant he could join you all in catching fireflies. Then, for a few seconds, Cove said nothing. He only stood there and looked up at your mommy with a face almost like he was considering turning around and leaving. My dad told me to drop this off because I guess he borrowed it from you. Cove took a familiar screwdriver out out of his large pocket. Eyes now dropped to the floor. Why send him over to return the screwdriver at night? At dinner time? Thanks, Native. Hey, Native. We left ours back home when we moved. Great, thanks, bye. Jeez, Lizzie! Cold! Damn, Lizzie, just committing a murder there, Lizzie. Damn!
Thank you.
Here, why don't you come inside for a bit? Lizzie crossed her arms and lifted her chin. Cove shrugged, and Mom stood from the table too. I'll give your dad a call to let him know you got here all right. Cove shuffled fully inside, eyes remaining on the ground. Mommy closed the door behind him. Thanks, Julie, I try. Sorry, Lizzie. Lizzie, if I'm calling out someone named Lizzie, it's not you. You're fine. You're nice, Lizzie. I'm not gonna call you out. Lizzie in the game? Damn! She is cold. Game Lizzie is cold. At least this is not Boyfriend Dungeon. Oh, just you wait situation. I'll be playing more Boyfriend Dungeon soon enough when the DLC drops.
Hi.
Hi, Cove. Shiloh gave Cove a friendly smile while waving by holding up his hand and opening and closing his fingers. Cove nodded in response. Cove, are you going to catch fireflies with us? You could see Lizzie eyeing you for mentioning the excursion to an outsider. But she'd get over it. Outsider? Come on! Thoughts on men's warehouses? On men's warehouse? I don't have an opinion on them. You dragged your foot over the floor in front of you, feeling too shy to say any more.
Yeah.
I can do that. No sexy men yet situation. I do try, Native, I do. I've never caught one before. Obviously, I'm far from a professional voice actor, but yeah, I try to be a little bit of an I try to put some acting into it, some performance. It's too bad he didn't have a chance before now. The fireflies weren't out when he first moved in. There must not have been any where he used to live. We can't go until after dinner. After she pointed this out, Lizzie walked back to the table and took her seat. There wasn't much left on her plate. A Wrinkle in Time? Wrinkle in Time freaked me out when I was young, never picked it up again. I've never read that one. Since this was very true, you decided to finish up your own stuff as well. Cove stepped closer and eyed what was on the menu for your family's meal. I don't know what that is, Dandy. Have you eaten yet? Yeah, my dad and I ate earlier. What did you have? Eggs. The quick one-word answer seemed to discourage Shiloh from asking any more questions. His eyes slowly wandered back to the last scraps of food on his plate. What did I eat? Spaghetti with sausage, Mama Moon. And also, we also had milkshakes. Chantal made strawberry milkshakes earlier. It was pretty cool. What animal do I look like? I don't know, Cornelius. Won't deprive myself of enjoyment just because... But the thing is, Spidey, there's so much else out there. You don't have to deprive yourself of anything. I have taken a poop, Dandy. Like, there's just so much phenomenal content out there, you don't have to deprive yourself. You know, you can just you can just watch something else. You can just read something else. You can just play something else. So, yeah. Her phone call with Cove's dad must have ended, because your mom came back into the room.
Okay.
Cove, your dad said you can stay for a little while if you'd like, but he's going to come get you before it gets too much later. Betty Boop, not that I am aware of. I don't think she's sleeping right now. Sure.
Fun.
Oh, fun! This'll be so nice. As you polished off the meal, you hoped it would You hoped it would be too. The three of you all finished eating shortly after, and Lizzie led the way outside. Remember, don't stray too far. Mom is such a worrywart. It's fine, Mom. Shallow trailed so closely after Lizzie he was nearly stepping on her heels. Cove hesitated at the door. Plans for tomorrow? I'll be doing a regular live stream at some point tomorrow, Betty. Crazy taxi ending? No, I did not, Julie. I never had a Dreamcast. You smiled lightly at Cove, gesturing for him to follow. After a moment, he did.
Bye.
Bye, children. Children? The two of you were a good 10 or 15 feet behind Lizzie and Shallow by the time you walked outside. You pushed the door shut behind you, watching their figures get farther and farther away. Good to hear, Betty.
Hurry up!
You're so slow, Jamie. We don't have all night. You started to run when you heard Lizzie's voice calling you, but paused when you saw Cove still walking at a relaxed pace. You walked with them. Alright. You fell behind, sidling up next to him and matching his stride. He noticed right away.
It's okay.
You can go ahead if you want. Don't have any plans for tomorrow? Yeah. You smile and shake your head. After a short while, the two of you reach the hill behind your house. The fireflies were out in full force, floating on the breeze, their gentle glow winking in and out and creating an almost magical effect. Lizzie had already climbed to the top. Shiloh was spinning in circles somewhere around the middle.
Wow.
Damn straight. Shiloh took a moment to come over and welcome the both of you to the hill. Hi guys, it's really great out, huh? See how many there are? Yeah. A firefly danced in the air, landing on Cove's steep green head. Yeah. Lord of the Flies was a good read. Never read Lord of the Flies. Or I read like half of Lord of the Flies. Back when I was in high school, one of my, really would have been grade 9 or 10, we had to read Lord of the Flies. I didn't actually finish reading it. Situation? They're kids. You and Shiloh couldn't help but giggle. Grade 9 for me, yeah, I think that's probably when I watched it, or had to read it. Like I said, I didn't finish reading it. Covering your mouth with a hand, the sound escaped you. Cove looked at you in confusion. What?
Oh.
Oh, look, Lizzie has one. That's amazing. It's not that tough to catch one. Shiloh ran to the highest point of the hill, making sure not to lose his hat or backpack along the way. That's good. I don't know, Joe. You hummed as the group divided and conquered, shifting your gaze to the dozens of other fireflies sailing around. The game was on. You were good at not getting cuts or scratches, so you weren't too worried about that. Spotting one close by, you approached it with assassin-like stealth, crouching down to make yourself seem like less of a threat. That doesn't really work. Cornelius, I don't know. It doesn't really say. Courtney, I didn't hear her describe her ideal man, but what do I care? More muscle men? Slowly dragging one foot in front of the other, you crept up towards it, arms outstretched. You closed your hands around the little glowing orb, careful not to crush it. The firefly landed on your palm, almost docile, and you stared down at your prize in delight. Its tiny legs tickled your skin, and you giggled at the sensation. Cove kept up with his own target, but when he tried to grab it with his pink cast wave, his pink cast waved awkwardly through the air, foiling his efforts to clap his hands around the firefly. Yeah, that would be pretty tough. No idea, Betty. Cove watched it vanish into thin air with a dissatisfied expression on his face. The one about the firefly you had, why not? Cove, here's one. Do you want to look at it? Cove gave one more look in the direction of his lost prize before coming closer and peering at the insect still crawling across your palm. You wish, Cornelius. You held out your hand, and he leaned closer, eyes widening a tad behind his glasses. Cove remained hypnotized by the little bug as he inched his hand closer to yours. Ultimately, he settled his fingers lightly over the top of the ones you were holding open. It tingled. Street Fighter, God of War. You stayed very still. You were so nervous you thought you stopped breathing, but no matter what, you didn't want to scare the shiny treasure. 101 in Texas? Ooh. The firefly, noticing the new connection, crawled up onto Cove's hand. He quietly gasped. It worked! Yeah, you got one. Cove's lips turned up into a slow smile, and his eyes shined brighter than the bug. Thanks, Jamie. What game is this? It is a visual novel on the moon. With a laugh, he gave the palm of your hand a friendly smack before performing an awkward low five. Startled by the extreme movement, the tiny light disappeared before you could even blink. Your firefly was gone.
Sorry.
Oops. Sorry. You forgave him. That's okay. I couldn't keep it forever.
Right.
Right. Bugs have to stay outside. Let's get another. You decided to collect more. Uh-huh. We can work together. I did watch Grave of the Fireflies, Aunt Janet. I made the mistake of watching the English dub, which is absolute garbage. It is just like a really, really bad dub. 101 degrees in Texas? Yeah, that's bad. That's way too hot. His face broke out into a wide grin. We'll get a bunch. With renewed vigor, you ran out into the hill. You're not sure how much time passed while you were in the thick of it. All you could focus on was the adventure at hand. No critter was safe from your grasp. Any plans for tomorrow? I'll do a live at some point. When did I last leave the villa? I don't remember, AM. At first you tried to keep a tally of how many you had caught, but once the number grew higher than 10, you had no more fingers left to count with. I could count higher than 10 when I was 8. You were having the time of your life, racing up and down the hill with the crash of the ocean and the sound of everyone's laughter echoing in the background.
Jamie!
This way! Ugh. You followed the sound of Cove's voice to the top of the hill, watching as he stretched his arms in front of him, reaching with his fingers and only narrowly missing his target. Cove and you took turns trying to scare fireflies in the direction of the other. I did not roll down a hill situation. Jam and smoothies? Nice, Betty. You showed him some techniques that you had learned, like how to cup your hands correctly, and he listened attentively before trying for himself. There were a few times when you almost ran into each other, giggling as you dove to the side at the last moment. Luckily, disaster was avoided each time. It was an overall huge success, with the both of you catching multiple fireflies each. Eventually, the fireflies began to thin out and your energy started to lapse. You decided it was time to call off the hunt. Cove didn't complain. He breathed in heavily and his face seemed really flushed. That was fun. A lot of fun. You smiled at him broadly, happy that he had enjoyed the activity. Yeah, it was.
Come on!
Jamie, Cove, get up here, we're gonna have a race. The shouting caught you off guard. It had been quite a while since you had heard from Lizzie or Shiloh. You glanced over to see them both standing on the top of the hill again, Lizzie beckoning to you with quick hand gestures. Natalie Portman shirt? What Natalie Portman shirt? If she was like that, you knew there wasn't much room for disagreement. Up the incline you went. From the corner of your eye, you thought Cove was coming as well. He didn't care for Lizzie a lot, so you thought he might be intrigued just by the idea of a race. Hi!
Cove.
Hi. Cove, you can't roll down the hill. You could hurt your arm again. You'll be the referee for the rest of us. Ah. Rolling down a hill. Rolling race? Alright. As Lizzie pointed this out, Cove froze in place. Oh, it was that kind of race. He frowned down at his cast. That was the second time it got in the way tonight. That sucks, Cove. What? Yeah, you'll watch and see who gets to the bottom first. That's important. Got it?
I guess.
The cast was sturdy. If he was careful, he could have done it. Lizzie might have just been looking for a reason to make someone else the referee, but it was already decided. No I can't, Cornelius. Why isn't this game character moving? Because it's... visual novels are like this, static images. Mario? Of course I played Mario games. I grew up on Mario, Betty. You got into position for the race. Sorry, Cove. You're a good friend, but we got a hill to roll down. Satisfied with this, Lizzie moved to lay down, and Charlotte did the same. Cove stood slightly to the side to get a better vantage point. It seemed like he was taking his newfound referee duty seriously. Count down! You quickly got into position as well, resting on your side in the grass and tucking your arms close to your chest. Favorite Mario character? Birdo. I like Birdo. 3, 2, 1, go! The three of you took off, letting gravity do the work and rolling at high speed towards the bottom. You squeezed your eyes shut, a delighted laugh leaving you, and consequently allowing a few blades of grass into your mouth. You sputtered, reaching up to wipe them away. It threw off your balance and sent you careening sideways. Oof! Ah! Everyone started too close together because the slight turn made you, then Shiloh, and then Lizzie collide into a heap. You tumbled down the last few feet in a pile. Shiloh's elbow was in your stomach, and you were pretty sure Lizzie's hair was in your mouth. But you had survived. Perhaps it wouldn't have been safe for Cove after all. You could hear him laughing in the distance. Well, I guess Cove gets to be the winner. When you opened your eyes, you saw the starry sky above, and Cove still on top of the hill, staring down at the three of you with an amused look on his face. Hey, cool crash! I think Shiloh was the first one at the bottom. That didn't count. We need a redo. Kids, it's time to come in.
Ugh.
No! You sighed, not knowing if it was from contentment or exasperation, and closed your eyes again. It had gotten late, and it was beginning to feel just a bit chilly as you made your way out of the hills, but the cold in the air hadn't dampened anyone's spirits. Yeah? It's a visual novel. It's Our Life. Beginnings and always. Luigi's Betty's favorite. The four of you walked back home together side by side down your neighborhood street, discussing the evening, with each person trying to prove that they were the one who caught the most fireflies. You knew that whoever really did catch the most didn't matter much anyway. All that mattered was that you all had a good time, which, judging by the smiles on everyone's faces, you did. Okay, Cornelius. Peach. I love Peach is great too. I do love Princess Peach. Any game where you get to play Princess Peach, she is a beast. I mean, like, Peach is just absolutely unbeaten. in Mario 2. Yeah, you just can't do better than Peach in Mario 2. And then even in Mario RPG, I find her really good. Like, I think Princess Peach is a really good character in Mario RPG. I hate Bowser. Bowser's good. Bowser's cool. Do I play with Mario? Do I play with Chantel plays? Not really. Never played Mario Strikers. I don't have that one. Yeah, I don't really play Mario Kart lately. I got kind of tired of just doing the same maps all the time. So, waiting for the new maps to drop before I play more Mario Kart. And it's 10 o'clock. I've been at it for just under 2 hours. Fall Guys, Situation. I don't really play any multiplayer game situation. So it'd be tough. Hide the pickle. So yeah, I feel like this is a good place to end it for this episode. Hey, Sheila. So yeah, this feels like a good place to end this episode. So yeah, more of this game next Saturday. Unless, of course, the Boyfriend Dungeon DLC drops. Don't know if there's a release date yet for the Boyfriend Dungeon DLC. Well, whatevs. Yes, Boyfriend Dungeon. As soon as the DLC drops, Situation, I will be playing more Boyfriend Dungeon. But anyway, for now, yeah, I'll be back tomorrow for a regular live. So, hope to see you all tomorrow. Sorry, Toilet Bowl. You can join me tomorrow when I go live tomorrow for a regular live, which will hopefully have more than 25 people. What time? Not sure. Probably around 8 or 9. Toilet Bowl. I usually go live around 8 or 9 o'clock. Sounds good, Cornelius. When I'm going on, like I said, usually around 8 or 9 o'clock that I go live Eastern time. So, hope to see you all then. But for now, good night.